Hey everybody, this is Storm. Keith's got a little stuff going on right at the moment. He'll be right here. He's at home. He's getting fueled up for our run. So, in the meantime, we'll have a little bit of music in the background, and we will bring him in momentarily. Thank you all for waiting, and hope you enjoy the show. All right, everybody. Our favorite sage is here. Welcome our friend Keith. You're up.
He's not.
Oh, goodness. Are you there, Keith?
Looks like he got pitched.
Whoa. What's going on here? Well, let's try that again. Got a few issues there. We'll get it straightened out. Hang on. All right, let's try that again. All right, there. Hey, he's
Okay,
moving
I'm
now.
here.
All right, that works. It's all yours, sir.
Danke. Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on April 16th, 2024 at, sadly, about 4:49 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary reason, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide virtually every movement I make by. With this in mind, we are going to be looking at, well, back that up, missed something here. I know these tools will be because they continue to work for me, and they have worked for thousands of other people with varying success, depending entirely on their own individual efforts. Now, today we are going to be talking about create the new you. In all fairness, it literally, anytime we are talking about creation, we are talking about co-creation. Now, I must thank LA for LA Movie. She's already handed out the gold and what have you, which is great. Sadly, I was in the chat room, or more to the point, I was in a chat room, but the wrong one. Technical hiccups on my part, didn't know I was in the wrong one. So, as per usual, I'm lost. But I'm back again. Anyway, that being said, the first question you've got to ask is, are you content with your current you? Now, I spent my life, my parents actually told me, don't show people what you do. They were referring to the psychic side of things. Okay. Because you got to remember, I grew up in a small town military base right smack in the middle of the Bible Belt. Telling somebody you were psychic, you might just as well say, hey, string me up and hang me out to dry. Either that or they beat you up, take your pick. Turns out that is not quite the way things went. Okay. It wasn't just the psychic side I had to get in and I had to get in touch with. It was the other missing parts. Literally that little voice in here. Okay. People talk about that voice in your head. Well, mine's always been a little slow. Most people have a voice in their head that says, hey, wait a minute, you shouldn't say that. Mine usually goes, You shouldn't have said that way. But, little late. Well, same issue. Turns out that voice that I hear and my own ability to see outcomes is the real key to it. So with that in mind, we're looking at the creative side of life. Okay. How do you, and quite literally, it really is all about you, because you're the one that's got control over your life. It may not feel like it right now. Okay. So let me ask you this. Are you content with the way your life is? And absolutely, if you've got a question, if you've got a specific question, even if it's not in the same topic, toss it into the chat room. Okay, put it in the chat room in all caps, partial caps, or at least a wavy hand to let me know. Now I'm going to go up top here. Now I know the gold what have you has been handed out, but I'm going down through and going up through here. Well, I see you are definitely first in the house. Okay, well, technically second in the house, I suspect, but I do trust things are going well for you on your end. Really appreciate you showing up, Valerie. As I mentioned in the chat room, I did get your message. I will go through it and get back to you on what it is after I'm done the stream. Because as you can well imagine, things are a little on the hectic side on occasion. Then we have LA. Thank you very much. And I realize LA, you bypassed the goal, or you've bypassed the medals. By the way, Valerie, yes, you did get the silver. Then we slide down a little here, and we have Joe. You are in with the bronze, obviously. How's your day going? You're always on the go. I know this. And what have we got here? Flying down. Yeah, as soon as I saw that message, Joe, about the music, that was when I turned my volume on, was to see what we were looking at, in the way of music. And I do agree with you, very relaxing. So much better than do, which is a whole different ballgame. And no, I'm not going to try and do that in tune. Sorry, you're in luck. I'm not going to bother. Then we scroll down a little further. And we have Joseph, you are in with honorable mention. Oh, Joseph, you definitely count. And literally what that boils down to is you're fourth into the room. And rest assured, there is not a person in here that is more valuable than the next, unless we talk about certain aspects, i.e., if Storm has troubles with tech, well, we could run into a problem, because we know if he's having troubles, virtually everybody on the planet is going to run into issues. In my case, if he's running into troubles, that's why he handles the tech. And at least he can get them sorted out. Now, I do not understand this, so I'm guessing, like, Joseph, you've mentioned that the ping is at half normal speed. I'm guessing that means the broadcast level. And Nathan, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And yeah, you're absolutely always on the go at work. We know this. Now, this here is the link to Nathan's show. So absolutely drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up, like that other thing. That'd be really appreciated. Well, Joe, that's the neat part after that, and I appreciate the recognition on their behalf. The reality is when we had that troll attack, it created a massive problem, and I had to do a real quick rewrite. And Storm and LA were right there to jump in. Now we should be getting down, and there we are. Now, the neat part about it, the fact of the matter is, we all have a whole lot going on in our lives. But, when I took a look at it, I went, okay, I came back. I came back to this world to pass on a very simple message. Now, to be clear, I've been here a number of past lives. Okay, striving to pass on the same message. But I am not here to perform some sort of an overall, gee, let's just snap our fingers and the world's better. Ain't gonna happen. This time around, I'm taking the bull by the horns. And while I'm shifting my world around, I am hopefully going to inspire you to do the same with yours. I've got almost 61, and man, I guess I should let you guys know that. On May 8th, I will not be live on May 8th, period. And I won't be live. I don't know if I'll be there for May 14th because I'm going down to Reno. I'm not taking my computer with me. So we will be dead in the water for a week. Okay. But yes, I will come back with some information or with some experience anyway. Don't know if it'll be good or not yet. We'll get to see that. Not. We're having fun. Anyway, I will begin when I come back. I will have more information. I am taking my paperwork with me to write. Okay, but let's get started with co-creating your world. Okay, the new you. Are you content with the way your life is? I have not been asked to, Callie. I will be there, but nobody said anything about talking. Okay. But if they ask me, I'm open to it. We'll just see what happens. I will be talking to individuals. Aside from May 8th, I am completely locked up. There's a gentleman I got to reconnect with right Schnell-like here that's going to be giving us a lift from the airport to the hotel. But other than that, say in May 8th, I am totally locked up. Okay. Because to put it bluntly, I'm meeting my other half in person for the first time that day. And since it's her birthday, we are going to be spending it together. And then, of course, on May 13th is mine, so I'll be locked up that day. Other than that, May 9th through 12th, I will take the time to talk to whoever is there. That's what this whole trip is about, quite frankly, is the social side of it. With that in mind, I'm working on a whole pile of things that I'm striving to accomplish. But first thing I had to realize was, okay, yes, I came in here with a whole set of senses. Most people are born with 5 senses: sight, taste, touch, smell, and hearing. Apparently not thinking on occasion. But most of you are kind of coming with those 5 senses, plus a rudimentary 6th. The all-inclusive one that includes clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and precognition, psychometry. You get the idea. The list goes on. Now, if I remember my count correctly, I came into this world with an active set of 15. Okay, this does not make me better than anybody. Okay, it does, however, create an interesting situation where it can be more confusing. Yes, I am in the process of documenting my past lives. So let's ask, what is the first step? Anybody got out there at all got any idea what the first step is to co-creating the new you? Okay, we can't do anything about your past, so let's just be clear about that. We can help you look to the past to see what you might choose to put on a different perception on. Valerie, I'm not going to ask the dangerous question, but I'm on the 16th. Absolutely, Joseph. Joseph just added, when we consciously reflect on whether our actions are in line with our intentions, we create an opportunity for self-awareness and course correction if needed. Eternity, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You got a couple of days on me, but I'd lay odds that I've crossed over the border between life and death more often than you. At least I certainly hope so. You know, but when I got looking at it, Mom and Dad told me keep my psychic ability quiet. Okay. And, I know I came back here to turn lights on. Of course, I didn't realize that to start with. Okay. The biggest change I'm making now is something that just dawned on me quite literally. I think it was this morning. Yeah. I was doing my journal entry this morning. Okay. And I determined that, yes, I've got that, but I've got to take that inner voice of mine, hence the name of the company, Inner Voice Enterprises. And I have to go, okay, listen to that and put it to use. And then take the other side of that. And what the heck did I actually listen to that? Sure, can't read with my glasses on. Can't see with them off, but that's okay. It boils down to listening to that voice and knowing what I'm seeing. Now, I can tell you, every one of you has the capacity to alter your life from where it is to where you desire it to be. Now, this is and absolutely, it's gone taking a real good look at oneself and identify what strengths one has, and what weaknesses need attention. Absolutely. These 4 words, if you haven't got them on your fridge already, strongly recommend you do. I am worth it. All change has to take place from within your heart. In other words, change it for you. If somebody else says, you've got to change this, for instance, the obvious one, you've got to quit smoking or you're going to get cancer. This is a great idea, except I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but dinosaurs never smoked that we're aware of. Okay. And even in my case, I don't remember them ever lighting up a cigarette. Some of them made tobacco, but they sure didn't grow it personally. Okay. But with that in mind, about almost 20 years ago now, up here, I caught wind that the government had figured out the number 1 cause of lung cancer: breathing. Now, I will tell you, if you stop breathing, you won't get cancer. Well, maybe. At least you won't suffer from it. In all fairness, LA, purely human, I'm not entirely certain. But on this planet, it's definitely the dominant place. Okay. The rest of the this planet don't know how to make it. But with this in mind, okay, I know we can take your guys' lives and turn the lights on so you don't make the same mistakes I did. Or at least so you've got the option of not making them. Okay, that's the important factor right there. What I'm doing at this point is I finally figured out, and by the look of the subscriber numbers, it's starting to work. I finally figured out what I was aiming for and how to get it into a balanced perspective. Okay. And that is by linking the two together. I'll bet. LA's just going, I had a cat that liked to carry a cigarette around, but objected to having it lit. I can well imagine the cat being really unhappy about it being lit. So I look at this going, okay, if I can turn the lights on now, I spent 55 years, almost 56, hiding from the world and literally hiding from life. So what I'm doing now is we've combined the concepts between Positive Perspectives, the magazine, the newsletter. We will start calling it a magazine probably within the next week or so. Just waiting for my I've got to go down tomorrow to talk to my graphic artist, my printer. She's designing a front cover, and as near as I figured, that is one of the key factors, one of the key differences between a newsletter and a magazine. So we're going to see how that goes. Okay, now with that in mind, when you look in the mirror, are you content with the way your life is going? One of these days, I'm going to remember. Okay, see, look at that, just like magic. We drop signal and the door ends up closed. That's when we go do. No, it is not. But one of the things that I look at is we've combined. Absolutely, well, it should be anyway, Joseph. It's sad. I see so many people look in there and go, I don't like the way that's going. And even myself, I went, I'm not happy with the way things are. I remember back at the beginning, sometime in March, I mentioned I had dropped mine to the low of nosedive, and I dropped down $624.85 in the bank. Well, I looked at it this morning. What I basically did is I was in a nosedive, pulled up at the last moment, and I've since then dropped to literally where all the extras literally cash on hand to 11, approximately $14. What was it, 1102? 11 plus 1.6. I had dropped down to a whopping $13.87 in my pocket. Now, if everything goes right, tomorrow, so basically it boils down to nosedive, pull up at the last minute, tip off the top of the wall. Okay, with that in mind, now it's time to climbing. And tomorrow should be the indicator of that change. Okay, because if everything goes well, all of a sudden my numbers are going to start to climb. Now, let me ask you this. With your life the way it is, I know some of you are making changes, and these neat little books here are literally the back of how I've done it. Okay, but it starts with believing yourself. Okay, you've got to believe you've got the capability, because whether you believe you do or you believe you don't, either way, you're inevitably going to prove yourself right. Absolutely, it should, Joseph. Joseph is just reminding us that such reflection should encourage alignment between intention and action. Absolutely. One of the biggest things that I've found is if you're going to say you're going to do something, do your level best to make it happen. Now, in case you hadn't noticed, I'm not perfect. I knew what had to be done. See, in your guys' cases, it may well be true ignorance. You didn't know any better. The stunt I pulled, as in pull out of a complete nosedive, didn't change my efforts enough and thereby bounced off the top of the water. I'm not going under. Not going to happen. Yes, I will keep you posted on the progress. At this point, we have taken Positive Perspectives, the newsletter come magazine, and Positive Perceptions, this whole stream, and merged the two so we're on the same page with all of them. Okay, now I'm taking that information, and the first thing I did, you'll notice this is gone. That's because I decided it was going. I wasn't waiting anymore. But let me ask you this. Now, I know some of you have already started a transformation. I will warn you that once you develop some bad habits, it can be a royal pain in the neck. So this one tells you how I literally took my life and turned it around and went, nope, I'm no longer going to hide from life. This morning, I turned around and started doing a front end wipe out of the situation there. I literally have turned around. I've literally turned around and gone, you know, I've been trying to encourage the people, encourage my own kids to sort things out. Okay, didn't work. You know, didn't work as well as I would have liked, so I just went, enough. I'm just changing and let them pick up, you let them follow. So again, I cannot force you. Boy, that is really pixelated on that screen. Is it really that pixelated? Probably. I wonder if that'll help. I don't know if it will, but let's see. Get him out of the way. What I'm doing is opening the window to see if that actually does something. My understanding is the antenna is up on the roof. And if this is the case, then opening the window may provide us with a little clearer signal. Okay, time will tell on that one. But I decided, okay, enough is enough. I've talked about it, and I can tell you, it's kind of like talking to you guys. You know, I can say, look, this is what's got to happen. But you're going to have to be the one to pick up your tail feathers and make it happen. We can safely say all the prayer in the world, whether you are standing up, holding hands, you know, bowing down, touching your head to the floor, you know, sitting there in lotus position, i.e., in my case, dislocate both knees and try and be comfortable that way. However you're doing it, we can safely say your spiritual guide and or your God is not going to step into the front and clean the house up. Okay, it's not going to happen. It's been tried for literally thousands upon thousands of years. And thus far, nothing has occurred that way. You know, I shouldn't say nothing, but the massive majority of prayers have been unanswered. And here's why. When you sit down and you go, oh God, please do this for me. Oh God, please take care of this problem. You know, I really need you to do this. Unfortunately, the moment you talk about what you don't have, okay, corporeal life is simple. By the way, so is non-corporeal. When you think I don't have, and you voice the fact you require it, what ends up that you want it more to the point, or you need it, what you're actually doing is saying to the universe, to God source, God, to the peanut butter sandwich, I don't care. What you're actually telling them is, please let me experience a lack of this type of thing. Okay, they turn around, you don't get a thing out of it. Because the way energy works, okay, because it all happens at once, if you talk about not having something, okay, meaning if you don't have it now, you won't have it in the future. And if you don't have it in the future, you're not going to have it now. This is a thing with current energy. Whatever's going on only happens in the here and now. So now, one of the things that I have found is I can see the state of the chairs in the middle of the hallway. My job is simple, really. In essence, it is to turn on the lights and let you know this is what's got to happen. Now, when we take now, May is ready to go. Where is it? This is only the 16th, but oh, that's April's. May's newsletter is ready to go, okay? And it's covered a number of things. June's, I'm about halfway through writing. I have made the decision I am getting ahead of the game. Now, let me ask you this. If you are not content with your life the way it is, are you ready to make the necessary changes, to put the necessary effort in? If you are, it's time to get started. Okay, doesn't matter who you are, because I will tell you, the universe, the whole thing of energy applies to everybody. Okay, it applies to everybody from the gods to the people, including the people handling the Akashic records. They have to pay attention to karmic law as well. Now, to this end, we are looking right now at the creative energy of literally the aspect of it being all about you. So let me ask you this. What is one thing, just one? And absolutely, if you're up to it, put the item in the chat room. Okay. But what is one thing that you would like to start changing today? Not at the end of the stream, but I mean right now. Right here, right now. Okay. And we will get you started on it. Or more to the point, we'll give you the tool for you to get started on it if you don't already have it. Intriguingly enough, many of you may already have the tool and just not know it. Okay. Now you'll be happy to know, well, you probably won't be happy to know. See, I ran into a problem. I've gone through 3 pots of coffee today, and she went and drank my coffee again. So I'm down to about that much coffee. However, I've still got a half bottle of Coke over here. Because that's always good for you, Fight with sugar levels, so let's get Coke. That's a great idea. Not brilliant, but hey, what the heck. I'm just looking at the chat room here, and let's just hit refresh and see what we got going on. Because I do that, and of course, the last time I did that, yesterday, I refreshed and dumped the whole thing. Okay, but I'm looking at the way this world is going and saying, I'm looking at it going, I'm no longer content living with a cluttered disaster, which is why you're seeing this sort of thing shift around here. Okay. Now, this little neat aspect here, the reason these sheets are here is because I went through it. These are the hard copies of Positive Perspectives. But I had to go through those because I knew I had some hard copies I hadn't run off. So once I'm done the stream, one of the first things I'm doing is making absolutely certain I run off the missing hard copies. Now, one of the neat little things that we have to look at here is, yes, pay attention to your health. Okay. I have absolutely, against a lot of people's encouragement, I have literally dropped every medication that the doctors put me on. Okay. Fortunately for me, my other half goes, look, they're not working for you anyway. I'm not going to worry about whether you're taking doctor prescribed, as long as I'm taking care of my health. So I am, that is for my heart self. I am exercising a whole lot more with a very focused idea in place. And this neat little thing here, these 3 books. I'm always reading 3 because I finished one and started a third one. Now get this. This one I just started, so I haven't gotten very far into it. Okay, this is volume 4 of the encyclopedia I'm reading. Then we've got, that one is just, it's an information thing. This one is a science fantasy book that my brother wrote. So, I mean, he's in the middle of rewriting this. I told him I was going to read it. And where am I here? I am currently on page 110. So I'm about a quarter of the way through it. Okay. I'm roughly speaking about a quarter of the way through it. Now, I'm saying that is for just entertainment. And then we have this, the Bible. I'm reading on this one. I am about a quarter way through. But this one I'm reading because I told my father on his deathbed that I would read this cover to cover. Okay, so they're getting read consistently. In all fairness, I appreciate the question there, Ellie. I know everything I require to actually put my body back together is contained in the food that is available. Now, what I don't know, and I don't actually have to, is what, and if somebody out there comes up with an idea and can figure out what's missing to help rebuild my teeth, that'd be great. Well, in all fairness, Joseph, that's actually pretty accurate. The reality is, and this is why I say, we're working on you guys. Okay, we pass this message on to the people that come into this room, and we show them the support that I see all the time. Somebody walks into this room, and half a dozen people already here are going, here's how we can help you. Here's how you can help yourself is more to the point. By taking care of the individuals, society itself will change, but only if we take care of ourselves. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing as much writing as I am is because, like you pass away permanently, whatever's left up here is gone. Okay, it's kind of like putting a backup on your computer. You know, you blow the computer apart. Lord knows this. I've done that often. You guys have probably done it. You blow the hard drive on your computer, and the odds are you're going to lose all the information on it, unless you put information on a zip drive. Okay. Well, I can't put everything up here on a zip drive yet. So I've already talked about that one. The second book I put out was this one, Believe in Your Business and Follow Your Dreams. Now get this, okay? If you run a household, do not let any genius tell you, oh, you're not working. That running of a household is one of the most difficult jobs in existence, especially if you're raising children. And rest assured, some of you have a partner. Whether it's a male partner or a female partner matters not a whit. Some of you have a partner that are very similar to children. They really don't think before they act. Or if they do, they totally ignore what they think about. Okay, so this is what I ended up putting together for that purpose. Okay, now, the neat part about it is after that, I turned around and put believe in your finances and follow your dreams. Now you'll notice each one of these is listed as follow your dreams. Well, the reason is this. Okay, and it only just dawned on me the other day. as in about a week ago. And I will complete writing these 12 in the Follow Your Dreams venue. But here's the kicker to it. On their own, they're tools. Okay? Put all of these tools together and you've got a new life. Okay? So once all 12 are put together, I will be combining them in one volume with an addendum tool, with an added expansion to help you use all of them to attain your dreams. But as we're going through this, you pick up these individual tools, okay, and you start working with them. If you've got a nail, if you've got a nail on the one hand, let's move that there. If you've got a nail in this hand, you got a hammer here, they're not going to accomplish a lot on their own. Put them together, and you've got the start of a fastening system. Okay, every one of the tools that I'm talking about interlink, including the magazine and positive perceptions. All of this is interlinked. And of course, we have to add that one other almost unquantifiable point, which is your guys' support of each other. Okay, it's that simple. And this is why in positive perceptions here, it is so critical that everybody feels safe. Yes, we have had some problem children, and this goes out to the problem children. Somebody came in here the other day. I personally am not going to be pointing out names. Somebody came in the other day and acknowledged their culpability in the troll attack that we had that ultimately led to a heart attack on my part. Not a great experience. Okay, but it did facilitate an awful lot of change. Those people that did that, yes, it takes courage to come in and say, hey, I messed up. I did something absolutely stupid. Okay, or whether you think it was stupid, saying I did this, but I'm not here to cause a problem, takes a lot of guts. Okay, and I will tell you this. And I've already spoken to the moderators about it. You come in, you're not causing a problem, then absolutely, I'm not seeing a big problem. However, let's face it, if you've already created that problem, you're going to be looked at with caution. And if that doesn't work for you, probably shouldn't have done it in the first place. This is why I tell you, whatever you're doing in life, doesn't matter what it is. Okay, well, there's one exception. When you think about doing it, if you can stand up and say, I did this. Okay, like for instance, I've said I'm building an empire. Okay, I am starting with my house, and I am reaching out. And we currently have 4 people that are stuck right in the middle of it. Okay, instead of 1. Now, 2,000 years ago, a young lad came to this world, and he started a pandemic that reached out over the last 2,000 years. Okay, now with that in mind, I have every intention this time around to start a pandemic that lasts longer than that. Because I'm not looking at changing or at turning the lights on for humans. Okay, I'm looking at turning the lights on for every species known to exist. And you'll notice I said known to exist. I didn't say known to man. Okay, because I hate to tell you this, humans don't have that high of an intellect yet. Not on the whole. I mean, I've seen so-called brilliant people, okay, make stupid mathematical statements, make absolutely ridiculous claims about the off-worlders, okay, and just done little but spew, profit-making for them, fear-mongering rhetoric, okay. I'm not here to scare anybody. So close your eyes and don't look in my face. the reality of it is this. When you take a look in the mirror, if you're not content with your life, it is time to change the way it's running. Okay, it is time to make the alterations. In my case, I am still stuck in the dinosaur age. I use a hard copy calendar, like a desktop calendar, and I've shown it to you before. The reality is, it makes headway. Okay. Oh. All right. I made a note. See, on this pad that I keep handy. Where is it? Let's get these out of the way. Need that one handy, but I have 3 clipboards on the go now. And of course, I told my other half I had 3, and she goes, "Careful, you're going to end up with 1,000 of them." I said, "No, I've got 3. This one's for the little articles I'm writing that have to go into positive perspectives, or possibly elsewhere. But like my journal, for instance. So I've got 1 clipboard for that. I've got this clipboard that handles my to-do list. And right now, where am I? Because we get to check this off. Whoop. Oh, didn't have it on here. So this one has the list of to-do things. And yes, like I said, I believe in record keeping. The Romans were better at it, by the way. But I will be able down the road to take a look at these. Now, some of you guys recognize these. Okay. This is my to-do list from January through March. This one is going to handle April through June. But I'll be able to look back and go, okay, here's the amount I was working on. Okay, so again, this is literally, that's what my second clipboard is for. And of course, the third one is my list of notes for myself. Sometimes it boils down to literally, okay, what was said in the chat room that I've got to come back to. And I'll just make a note of it for myself here. LA goes, "Storm insisted I have a cell phone. I have made my contribution to modernizing." And see, here's the funny thing there, LA. I'm literally, where are we? Oh, missed that, Joseph. Joseph is just pointing out spiritual practices can offer strength. But remember, prayer alone won't suffice. No, because you can sit there and go, "Hey, give me a hand here." He's not going to reach down. Okay. And there's a lot of ways of looking at it. Yeah, Storm goes, "I will eventually drag LA into the 21st century. Kicking, screaming, and swearing. Emphasis on the swearing." I look at it this way. Language is language. Okay, I don't tend to swear a lot unless I get mad. Okay, at which point, all filters go out the window. But when we take a look at it, I keep telling people, I'm going to get into the 21st century. I should be in the 21st century by the time we get to the 22nd one. Because I am literally guiding people back to the 19th century, where this funny little thing, paper and pen, these power outage will not wipe out. Okay, it's amazing. You write something on paper and the light goes out. When the light comes back on, you still got everything you wrote. It's absolutely brilliant. And yet, in today's world, oh, give me a notepad. I got my notepad. Battery dies. Well, so much for the info. I mean, You think about the mess that I went through a few months back when I thought I had wiped out 40 years of data, which reminds me, I've got to get that printed off again. But it is coming. Okay. And what we have to realize is, yes, the off-worlders are here. Some are still coming here. Okay, are still on their way in. The only functional difference is they happen to have, better toys. Yeah, well, that's just it. And Ellie's just letting us know she's a texture junkie. I will agree with you. I will agree with people when they say, well, if you spill water on your notepad, you're going to lose the writing. Absolutely. But if you spill water on your computer, you're completely toasted. Joseph, I think that's a fantastic idea. Joseph just going and just suggesting, he goes, I think your audience would be intrigued by a discussion on purpose and satisfaction. I think that's a great idea. Now, let me make a note of that. Because I got to figure out, I've literally got things laid out in a certain fashion. There's a reason for that. Okay, but we are always going to be looking down the road. Because as I discovered this morning, I got a bunch of obstacles, most of them internal, that have stopped me from progressing. But like an onion, when you start looking at yourself, you look at the surface, peel away the stuff that is a problem, change that, and every time you peel something away, you'll find something more that isn't quite perfectly aligned. However, that does bring something to mind there, Joseph, because it could be a little bit before I get to that on here. But what have we got here? Purpose and satisfaction. There we go. What I can do, because I've got enough to do, is if not in June's edition of Positive Perspectives, I will certainly get into July's. Hence the clipboard for note keeping. Okay, but that is an excellent thing. And like I said, we are talking about linking these two concepts together. Okay, which is, when you think about it, we're talking about thought, what goes on in here. Okay, word, I put it over there. What goes on in the newsletter, and sound, the sight. Okay, this is thought. Then you got sight, which is the newsletter. Then we have the auditory component right here. But you are correct. Let me ask you this. When you look at the co-creation of the new you, you've got 6 questions to ask, okay, about any change you're planning on making. Okay, we are not talking about changing things overnight. We are talking about changing things over time. It likely didn't take you a minute, just a moment, to get into this kind of thinking, to get into the situation you're currently in. It likely took a period of time. It's going to take time to get you out of it. Okay. Now, with that in mind, okay, the first question you ask, who are you doing this for? Who are you making the changes for? Are you making them because you feel that you desire to change them? Or are you making them because somebody else said you've got to? And I will tell you, no matter if it's a loved one, okay, yeah, LA's going, when I realized I needed to change it, that I needed to change it up to help myself. Oh, yeah, to change it. and it was up to me to help myself to adapt to my disability. I had to decide to accept the disability first. Then I could allow it internally. Absolutely. And this is where we get back to this point. Okay. Yeah, I believe in sitting down a lot. First rule of thumb, you've got to take this to heart. As long as you take this to heart, I am worth it. Take that to heart. If you haven't done so already, put it on your fridge. Okay, I've got many people that have put it on their bathroom window, on their bathroom mirror. Okay, myself, I've got it here handy. As a matter of fact, I should have it there. I'm gonna do that. Remember that thing about procrastination not accomplishing a lot of anything? So I grab this. Whoop. All I have to do grab that, come over here. Like I said, I'm still looking at things from the bath backwards method. Okay. Every one of the books that I send out comes with a bookmark, obviously, and on the back of the bookmark, it has that four-word sentence. Okay, and the reason it is there is so that if you haven't already got it someplace handy, you can absolutely put it on your fridge. Okay. Now, this is that neat little thing. Remember this back in the, even now, it's still there. We have paper. We have tape. Put that on there. And now, while I'm sitting here in my office, I take this neat little sign and I put it right there on the wall above my monitor. Actually, in this case, it's literally the windowsill. Okay, get those 4 words up where you can see them regularly. Now, you got to remember, that's centered in front above my monitor. The reality is I spend 10, 12 hours a day in here. Okay, so the first thing you do, you've got to believe you personally are worth it. And here's why. Let's say a doctor says, you've got to stop drinking or your liver is going to collapse. Unless you are ready to change for you, you may stop for a little while. You may cut back a bit. But the old habits will come back. That's almost a unilateral, there it is. Okay, I knew better than to do it myself. As I said, I didn't even change the spending habits I was going through until I run smack into the wall and I hit the water. It's like, yay, I pulled up and splash. I'm not staying in the water. Now I'm heading for orbit. And I'm quite willing to take every one of you with me that is ready to go. That is ready to go for you. It is time to spread this message and start an absolute beneficial pandemic. People go, oh, a pandemic. Ew, evil, scary, frightening. We're all going to die. No. So many people bought into the idea of the pandemic. And I looked at it and went, I'm not bothering with it. I just don't have time for it. Okay. Nobody's going to complain if we start a pandemic of communication and smiling. Nobody's going to complain. Now, if you want to have a negative look at it, how are you doing there? Well, Spoderman, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Nobody's going to complain in all likelihood if you smile at them. And if you want to look at the negative side, there's no problem. Smile, it's the one gift that is absolutely free to create. And nobody complains when you give it back. At least nobody that I'm aware of. Oh, there you go. Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man's derpy brother. There you go. So instead of spraying web, you spray silly string. I'm not sure how well that's going to work for sticking to the wall. If it doesn't work well, use spaghetti. Okay, but smiling, nobody seems to complain. Okay, that said, if we start a pandemic of smiling, okay, I've never heard of a smile killing anybody. Okay, what we have to realize here is it is up to us, not God, not the so-called elites, not the politicians or the spiritual leaders. It's up to the individual in the mirror. Okay, now some of you literally cannot see yourselves in the mirror. Okay, however, same applies if we're talking about listening to it. Okay, but you got to get here. And like I've told you before, when your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, you can achieve it. And that just answered the question I was looking for earlier. I was looking for which added, because I'm looking for old or new quotes. I don't care. Okay, to break up positive perspectives with. Like I said, I make notes. That's what this one is for. Because I'll go through this after the stream and make sure I get things mobilized. That came out well. One of the biggest things that we have to realize is you've got the ability to change your own life, but you've got to act on said ability. Now, back in the 70s, okay, so we're talking 50 years ago. Yeah, I realize a lot of you aren't that old, but I'm finding out a fair chunk of you are up in the same bracket I am. Okay, which means it's probably like the kettle calling, the pot calling the kettle black. And no, calling somebody black is not racist, it's not insult. It is simply that happens to be a color. I told years ago I was working for Dairy Queen. And I come out the front door, and this brunette threw a pile of garbage on the ground about 5 feet from the garbage can. And I looked at her and I said, and her friend did the exact same thing. Okay. She threw her garbage on the ground in the parking lot, but she was a little further away. I looked at the brunette and I says, you can pick that up right now and get it in the garbage can. And I says, would you be kind enough to tell your blonde friend over there to do that as well? And the brunette looks at me and goes, you're being racist. I says, you care to explain how I'm being racist? Well, you called her blonde. Well, of course I called her blonde. What color do you want me to use? Right? This is the thing we have to realize. Every comment made does not mean you're being racist. It means you're identifying something. Now, yes, the tone of your voice, the words you're using can be utilized to make something sound racist. Okay. I told a bunch of kids one day that they would make perfect adults. There were 8-10 of these kids sitting in a circle about 15 feet away from a garbage can. And there was garbage all over the ground. I says, congratulations, guys, you're going to make perfect adults. They took it as a compliment. I looked at him and went, I wasn't complimenting you. The thing is, if we as a society desire this world to change, we're going to have to get up and do something about it. Okay. If you're not content with your life, it's time to start making changes. Now, I will grant you this. Many of you may not know how to go about making those changes. That's where this place comes in. Okay. That's what I'm literally here for, It's why I came back to this world, is to remind people how to do that. And this is why I'm walking through it step by step myself, so I can literally lead by example. I never desired to be on a pedestal. I never desired to be in the spotlight. That wasn't my issue. Okay. My issue was this. I see so much chaos going on, so much degradation. It is just appalling. Okay. And it literally causes me pain when I see it being done to other people. My net result was I've got to do something. And with the encouragement of so many people from Spaced Out Radio, with so many people stepping up and going, would you get the information on paper? It finally got to me, it finally sunk in that this had to happen. So just for your edification, this is the link to Spaced Out Radio. Okay, now drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of the thing. Okay, because it is this unification of the different channels. We have more impact than the major media moguls. If you look at the components, okay, you take a look at, for instance, CBS, and I don't even know if that's one of the going moguls anymore. Okay, used to be CBS, ABC, and NBC. Okay, oh, and the Knowledge Network. But I don't know who the big players are anymore. What I do know is that's one group. That's one person, essentially. Okay, if we take, now that's one person. Now we take all of you guys. Okay, we take all of you guys, and each one of you goes out and starts broadcasting this same message. And absolutely send them. Absolutely, I am formally at and for. Okay, send them back. Right now, we have 608 subscribers. This means 608 times the access point that any one of the individual moguls have. Okay, because you can bet your bottom dollar. They don't go and say, hey, encourage everybody to be happy and honest. Encourage everybody to report the positive things in life. They're going, tell me about the accidents. Tell me about who got robbed. Tell me about who got murdered. It's not that bad things don't happen. It's that if you desire your life to change, you've got to start overbalancing things. Every time you see oops. Joe, have a great night. Thanks so much for dropping in. I really appreciate you sharing your time with us. And I guess I better pull the energy back a little, eh, Frank?
Just
whenever
a tad.
you see anything negative, watch, listen, read. Take two things. This is what I'm referring to about I have a bad habit. My apologies for all the good that does. Needless to say, this is one of those things People ask, do I have any pain? What do I like? Well, apparently I do happen to be a little bit more passionate about this than I thought I was. I gotta ask, Frank. I see every now and again we end up with three people coming up. Is there a reason for that? I'm just nosy.
I think it's because there's an interruption in signal from your end, and then while it's trying to while it's reconnecting, it temporarily pulls up another, basically another connection, and then the other one gets dropped because it was unresponsive.
Oh, okay. The thing is, we have the ability to co-create our own life. Now, in my case, once the money starts climbing properly, you will find I start changing my wardrobe rather solidly. No, I'm not going to start wearing a hat like the Cat in the Hat. Okay. Nor am I going to start looking like this. Bug-eyed maybe, but the reality of it is this. You desire to change your life. Take a look at it this way. If you go, and I've covered this before, if you go with the idea that the physical world is a reflection of the modern world, okay, if you take a look at that, or if you go and say the physical world is a reflection of the way your mind is, it stands to reason that your mind, the way it's operating, is a reflection of the physical world. With this in mind, start changing the physical environment around you. Yeah, we've talked about that before. Wu's just suggesting short videos. Yeah, I'm just figure I've got to even short posting will work better, or will enhance it. Okay, it was suggested that I do that a long time ago, and honestly, I've tried several times on my end to put short videos together, but every time I even try it, the system I've got to try and put it together with collapses. So in time, we will figure that one out. It's one of those things that's sort of a work in progress, I do believe, Wu. It's just one of those things that's a pain in the neck from my end. Okay, again, we are talking modern tech. Now, put me back with Nabocus, which is something I'm starting to remind myself how to utilize. Okay, because I still am a firm believer that, I can make things happen quite nicely. Wu, I'm going to pop a hole there right off the bat. Everybody talks about the global cabal, the elites, the priesthood. I'm telling you, these are all individual people. But there is one thing that you're very accurate on. They are working together to create a world that they are content with. It's time we do likewise. But the global cabal, if you listen to the people that are really researching that, which, by the way, I'm not, it seems there's about 20 people. The reality of it is this. As near as I can figure, the so-called global cabal is about 20 people. In this chat room alone, okay, well, in this stream alone, we have 608 subscribers. If all of you pitch together and spread this message, that's 600, 25, that's 30 times the number of people at the head of the cabal. Okay, so I don't go the route of going, oh, the cabal's running everything. I don't care. Okay, it really doesn't matter from my end. And the reason for that is because they've been around since time immemorial. Somebody stepped to the top of the plate and said, hey, I know how to make money for myself, so I'm going to make sure that happens. That's what they're doing. Okay, and ultimately people are buying into it. Now, myself, I just don't. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying it doesn't matter to me that they exist. You know, I'm not dead. They haven't shot me for saying, hey, I don't agree with the fact people are walking on each other so they can individually get ahead. Because I will tell you, I had the same arguments with the pharaohs centuries back. I tried telling them, you're not taking your physical stuff with you. All the stuff in the world isn't going to go with you. You're going to die. You're going to leave it behind. The same thing still applies. Okay, this is why I'm not looking to, this is why I said I'm building an empire. Yes, I am targeting generating over $1 billion a month. Okay, but I've also worked it out that 80% of that net will go back to the general public. Okay, bearing in mind, net means I'll take care of my own expenses first, and then 80% of the surplus will go back to the general populace. People working with me, people working for me, people that are simply, okay, people that are simply purchasing some of the tools that we're talking about. Absolutely, there are, LA. LA goes, there are certain truths that stand the test of time. Not the least of which is if you can't get oxygen into your system and you're human, you're pretty much screwed up. You're going to end up dying. Okay. Humans on the whole cannot fly. If you're convinced you can, I strongly recommend you test that theory by jumping off a 6-inch curb. If you can fly from there, okay. Do not start by jumping off a 14-story building. It's like if you're getting into bodybuilding, you don't start by lifting 600 pounds. You start by lifting 2. Okay, so what I'm back here for now is to finally say, okay, yes, I absolutely have accessed higher senses. Some of you have borne witness to it. Some of you have not. But the much bigger picture is I take those higher senses, put those on the second lock, which is the vision that I have of a future where everybody is prosperous, where everybody is at peace. Okay. And then we lock that into place with the methodology. Okay. When we have the vision, the understanding, and the communication, all of a sudden, we've got a world where we can have either hell on earth or heaven on earth. Your call. Okay, myself, I've had enough of the hell thing. Okay. I mean, I like barbecues and all. I just don't like being part of them. But now what we're looking at is a change in our world that is going very nicely. Okay. We have the opportunity to take a look in the mirror. Let me ask you this. Just on a simple level. Let's start with the obvious. Do you like the way your hair is? Okay, we'll just start at the top. Are you content with the way your hair is? And there are some of you out there that are bald or going bald. Now, back in the 70s, okay, well, back in the 60s, really, there was an old saying that went, God only made a few perfect heads. The rest of them he put hair over. Needless to say, mine's got to be an absolute shambles. Okay, but if you're losing your hair or if you're already bald, do not worry. Do your best not to worry about it. Okay, if you're young and you're losing your hair, And this applies a lot to people that are dealing with cancer or with radiation treatment, which always confused me. Yes, you're sick with cancer, let's irradiate your body. Yes, it works, but boy, do people go through a lot of illness themselves. Okay, but if it bothers you when somebody points out you're losing your hair, just remember that little quote. Okay, God made a few perfect heads, and the rest He put hair on. Okay, all of a sudden, that issue of being told you're going bald becomes a compliment instead of an insult. Okay. The neat part about it is this. I used to get called Four Eyes, right? And all you got to do there is somebody calls you Four Eyes, it's like, yep, the better to see you with. And then you give a little bit of a sick little cackle, okay, and just really turn their life upside down. Anything that can be used as an insult can be redirected as a compliment. I was in the grocery store one day and a guy complained to me about my outfit. And I was dressed basically like this. He was in a 3-piece suit. I looked at him and I said, look, it's not like I'm a fashion statement. The girl right behind me, she never missed a heartbeat. She goes, you are not a good one, but you are a statement. Again, it was a negative comment from him that she turned around to a compliment. And that's what you focus on. What are you doing? Oh, perfect, Joy. I'm glad to hear that. Joe, I'm always interested in whether or not people are listening. I went through a lot of time wondering whether there was any point to my saying anything because I wasn't getting any response in the chat room at all. Okay. But I am interested in the way things are changing in your life, especially with some of the advantageous little venues you've got. The reality of it is when you look in the mirror, now I'm going to be changing my wardrobe. This is why I've asked some of you guys, I've asked everybody, if there is something you feel would be beneficial that would bring me a little bit more up to speed, absolutely open up. Okay, especially where it comes to color, because, well, frankly, I'm still sketchy on that. But I'm changing everything here. That's just the way it is. Okay, which is why I've got my room reorganized. You can't see a lot of the reorganization aside from the lack of clutter behind me here. Okay, now I'm not going to put that up there. Although it probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but I can't bring it over if I do that. I was just thinking, what just crossed my mind was this. Take this neat little board here and put it up here. Now, I'm not going to try and reach up there. But then I couldn't pull it off the wall. Although it might be an idea, it might be a project for later. I haven't decided yet. Because it just dawned on me that I've got this great big blank space up there. And that could be very beneficial if I do it on cardstock and attach it to the wall. Okay. What do you think, guys? Would that be something that would make sense to pop up there? LA is going, white polos with khaki slacks are always put together with a brown belt. Now, what I don't know is what a khaki pant is. Oh, nice, Joe. Yeah. See, usually when I'm working, Joe's just saying he's watching Bigfoot Rob on the big screen also. See, most of the time, if I'm not live streaming, I've got my movie here, movie or YouTube, okay, and over on this screen, I'm reading it. Oh, well, I can go with the lighter shade of brown. It's a twill thing. I told you I am a dinosaur where it comes to fashion. I figure, the one color I've told people, I'm not wearing pink. Nothing against people that wear pink. I don't like it. For me. Okay. Now, maybe I'm stuck in an old-fashioned thought process. I'm much happier with the idea of blood red and black, and midnight black. But I think this is a bad combination. Unless, where did it go? No, it's buried. I'm not going to worry about it. But, from my standpoint, it's real simple. We have a world that is ours for the forging. We can continue letting it deteriorate under the guidance of those that are very interested in self-serving. Okay? Or we can work together to change that path. Okay? Now, do not get me wrong. This is not to overthrow a government. It is not to overthrow a company. I intend on including them in it. Okay? There is no reason, no functional reason I'm aware of, to take somebody that has the know-how to run a multinational business and cut them out of the equation. Why not get to know them a little better? Let them get to know you a little better and work with them to utilize their expertise and your vision to accommodate a better outcome. Now, Oh, okay. Don't worry, just stuff going on up front. But I am a firm believer that if we work together, we can make this world a much better world, a much brighter one. Okay, it's just a question of doing our best to capitalize on it, to literally draw people together. Now, you desire to co-create your world. Let's not forget the environment you're living in makes a difference. For instance, when we're talking about your clothing, okay, if you were, we'll start with your hair. Let's say you live in an area that is perpetually tossing winds, okay, where it doesn't matter what you do, what day of the week, the wind is blowing heavily in the area you're in. Worrying a lot about combing your hair doesn't add up. Okay, you spend 90% of your time combing your hair. And I've seen people, they won't pass a mirror without touching their hair up. Never understood that. See, for me to touch my hair up is really rough. Take your fingers, you do that. There, we're done. Okay, I'm lazy. What can I say? Well, I could say I'm not lazy, but what have I got here? $25 things on my list for today. Yeah. Over half of them are already complete. The other half will take me probably 3/4 of an hour to finish. Okay. Well, no, that's not true. Because I've got 3 major writing projects. But the other ones of the 25, I'll be able to finish before the end of the night without a problem. Okay. The reality is, you desire your life to change. LA, I do appreciate that. LA is just giving us the warning that we're at the 15-minute mark. Okay. This is the time to look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you content with the way your life is? Are you content with what you see in the mirror? or what you hear if you happen to be blind. And yes, to me, people being blind does hold a certain amount more evidence and more emphasis to me personally than ones that are deaf. Nothing against the people that are deaf. Just so happens my other half is 100% blind. Oh, that solves your problem there, Joe. It's funny. I'm the only one in my family that isn't going bald. Okay. I was born with I was one of two kids in the family, born with a full head of black hair. Okay. It didn't stay black for long. It started going gray. My first gray hair showed up when I was 14. Now, according to some people, and you guys could tell more about this than I will, some people have told me that up in here is starting to darken again, which is completely backwards, unless you realize that I don't agree with the standard rule. As you get older, you will go bald. Your eyes will collapse. Your teeth will all fall out. They might be right there. I don't believe that has to be the way it is. If you live on a farm wearing, Steve goes, Joe has one less thing to worry about. Of course, I don't think Joe really worries about it. If you live on a farm, wearing a three-piece suit and dress shoes is not a wise choice. Okay. If you're a fisherman, I do not recommend runners. Okay, especially not at work. You have to take into consideration, or at least it's wise to take into consideration, the fact that we are dealing with an interesting setup. The environment you live in, the people you're around, will dictate how best to interact. Okay, you don't start using multisyllabic words with people that only understand one syllable. Okay. 4-year-old. I will talk to them in my language, using my linguistical capacity. If they don't understand it, just like if I say something to you guys and you don't understand what I'm saying, tell me. I will downgrade the linguistics for you. Okay. I don't take that as an insult. I take it as being more insulting if I assume that just because I'm speaking it, you're going to get it. Joe goes, I don't even go to them and bother going to a barber. Too many people in there anyway. I agree with you on that end. I really do. I go periodically. I've gone more in the last 3 years than I have in the last decade. Of course, you go back prior to my other half coming into the equation. My hair was way down here past my elbow. Well, I got to pull back here. My hair used to come down to here. And if you go back and look in my former videos, you'll find that to be the case. Not that it really matters from that end, but it is time to start reorganizing your life to the point you desire it to look, not to the point that somebody else says you have to. I know way too many people that I know they do this to their families. Okay, where they go, oh, you have to go to this event. You've got to be there to keep up appearances. And, I was lucky. My parents didn't force us to. When I was going to church, I went voluntarily. I actually taught Sunday school. Okay. I taught Sunday school for 3 years. As in taught what was literally in the Bible. Which is great. Then I started reading it. And no, I don't go to church anymore. I still believe in God. I still believe in grace. Probably more so than some of you. Okay. But that does not make me better. Okay. I believe in popcorn and chewing gum as well. Okay. But, and contrary to what I will absolutely tell you, the genius down in the States that came to the conclusion that we're running out of gravity. Part of me sitting there going, bonus, peace and quiet. Not necessarily the nicest way to look at it, but what the heck. So we are looking at a world that things are changing. Okay, the question is, are you going to start changing your life today, right here, right now, into something you're much happier with? Okay, I know as soon as I get done this stream, right off the bat, the 3 months of positive perspectives that I don't have in hard copy will be put into hard copy. I've still got all the soft copies. Okay, so that'll get done right away. And yes, Valerie, I have not forgotten. I will be looking at that after the stream. All in all, Ellie goes, I go twice a year. Trim the brush out. Last time I let her take 1.5 feet. So you're walking around on one stump and one missing altogether? Personally, I would not let a barber take a foot of mine. I won't let the doctor take my leg. I'm not letting a barber take a foot either. I will tell you, when I had my hair that long, it used to get tangled a lot, which is why I figured out how to put a ponytail in to try and keep it out of my way. But take a look in the mirror. It is time to start changing this world. And not to wait for the so-called elites or the governments around the world to make it happen. It is time for us to take control of our own destiny. Okay, for pity's sake, follow the written law. I don't know about you, but I don't handle the vertical bar scene well. Ultimately, the reality of it is this. It's a question of what you desire in your life. Okay, and yes, it is that time, isn't it? Good night, Steve. Thanks so much for sharing your time with us. And it looks like we are wrapping things up here because that looks like we must be down to the last 5 minutes, I guess. Yep, we are. So, I will be back again on Friday. But Friday, what are we looking at? That's an excellent question. I like it. Oh. Starting next week, we are going to be looking at healing. Okay, and the various modalities of it. In all fairness, I'm not going to touch much on the medical profession. Okay, but we're going to take a look at the healing side of things, how you can do that to your own body in conjunction with society. With that in mind, guys, thank you so much, Eternity. I appreciate that. With this in mind, again, we're going to start on Friday, we'll start with the energy of it. Then we'll look on Saturday at individual methods. Then we'll start showing you how to get the society itself to heal. Okay. And then we move on to the off-worlders, to the galactic side of things. And then we go back into the creative side. With all of this in mind, okay, until we meet again, I'm going into my weekend, which is something I literally haven't done it in decades. But I'm going into my weekend. So I will see you all again on Friday. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.